Hello, hello, hello. This is Irina Strunina, and this is our weekly podcast, Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360. Welcome back for those who are already following us for a while, and welcome to our podcast, people who just discovered us. If you find this interesting, if you find this information good for you, or you would like somebody else to know about it, share, please share it. Any platform that you could use, do that here. So today, I would like to talk about something that we not often talking. We will be talking about caregivers and what they are going through and what they have to know. And to help me with this conversation, I invited Jen Venegas.
Yes, Venegas.
Yes, thank you, Jen, for joining me today. And I would like first to begin with, please introduce yourself to our listeners so they will know why I invited you, because I'm really happy that you joined me today.
Thank you, Irina. Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Jen Venegas. I am a deaf doula and a grief worker, and I was also the caregiver for my diabetic father before he passed away. And a lot of what I do centers around helping folks walk with their grief and move with their grief in ways that make it less debilitating for all of us.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me today because uh, very often I see in our Facebook group Diabetes 101 for Beginners, people are posting something like this. I just got diagnosed. I have no idea what to do. I am crying every day. I am afraid to eat. I am so anxious, and this is what people going through very often, as a matter of fact. The same story I hear when there are parents of children learn that their children got diagnosed, and children more often diagnosed with type 1 but type 2 as well, and parents are anxious and don't know what to do, and they're crying and they're scared. And so I really set up for myself a goal when I opened the Facebook group to help people to recognize that the life continues. The diagnosis of diabetes very rarely happens overnight. I mean, you learn about it overnight, but this was in development because of different situations, maybe increased stress levels, maybe some life-changing situations when you are totally thrown off your daily routine and that affects it. Maybe because of traditions that you had in your family or habits that we developed, and maybe a combination of everything. So it happened already some time ago, but you got the confirmation from your doctor maybe yesterday, maybe 2 weeks ago. So don't be afraid to eat. But we all were told, that we need to eat more vegetables. Let's try to do that. That we need to exercise more. Let's try to do that. Something that in the direction of healthier lifestyle, if we start making those changes and learn along the way how to manage it in a better way, what is working, what is not working, because everybody is different, that's how we will be doing that. But diabetes, as I always say, is a team sport. We are always looking for help. We should, maybe we are not, but we should, because this is something that we need to think about every day pretty much for the rest of our life. If we behaved well and did put our acts together and managed to suppress it and take it take control into our hands, we are in a much better stance. Sometimes it's not that easy to do, and we do need help. It could be healthcare providers, it should be healthcare providers, any kind of support from your family, from your friends, from the community where you belong, everything counts. So I would like to ask you, Jen. You said you have this experience being a caregiver. Now you are actually experiencing it from inside out. So the question is the same. Why, in managing diabetes, it is very important to have a support system?
Yeah. When I first learned that my dad was diabetic, I was in my mid 20s. And so that was about 15 years ago. And there wasn't as much information
Yes.
about how to manage it as there is today. And so I saw my dad go to this really strict diet where, in my opinion, what I know about nutrition, he was not eating enough, and that caused him to kind of binge later, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of what he needed was support around education, um, family support, maybe help like cooking meals or researching recipes, and even encouragement, right? From like me as a caregiver, from my mom, from my brother, just hey, like if you want to manage this, here's some things you can do. I researched it. This is what I learned. And so when caregivers can kind of like be proactive, I think, in how they help somebody without smothering, I think it can be really beneficial. Also, I think giving that person their autonomy and like holding that for them instead of trying to micromanage their care is one of the things that I learned the most from my time with my dad. I know I was very angry watching him make certain decisions around what he ate or how he exercised or just, decisions he made around his care, around his diabetes. But now that I am a person with diabetes, I have a lot more grace. And I also understand that when I am held in care rather than like concern, if that makes sense. So someone can care for me through active ways rather than just being concerned and telling me, oh, you should do X, Y, Z instead of supporting me in doing those things. It can make a really big difference. So someone telling me, oh, you should lose weight, as opposed to someone like a loved one being like, hey, let's take a walk together. Like those are two very different ways
Yes.
of like trying to support. And I think the more action oriented that still holds autonomy for the person is what is really foundational and important in that care. And I know for me, it helped me heal my relationship with my dad before he passed away. And I just have a lot more grace and like just empathy for people that are diabetic and all the shame that we get and just the things that we have to go through. Like it's a full life change sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when we're talking about support system, what can be in that, or who can be in that support system? Uh, what did you find out working for people? What is helping?
I think it needs to go beyond family if possible.
Mm.
I think there's some things that our families can support us with. Absolutely 100% yes. And I think there's limits to that, right? Like the more we can reach out to friends, to extended family, to maybe people in our churches or our community spaces, even online, just having conversations and um, expanding your like care network can be really helpful. Also, what I found is the more that I talk about diabetes, the more that I find out I have a lot of people in my life that are also diabetic. And if we weren't talking about it, we would never know. And even though, like you said, like our health is different individually, there's still a lot we can learn in community and support each other in.
Yes, absolutely. You know, it's this is a challenge always, and I know that when my husband got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, we really didn't know anyone. Well, we didn't know anyone. And then all of a sudden, once when his friend learned that he asked, why did you, how did it happen? You lost so much weight. What happened? And my husband had to say that, hey, I got this diagnosis and that's what happened. And his friend, close friend, said, I am pre-diabetic. And they started exchanging information. It took about 8 years until we learned about it, until my husband opened up and his friend didn't hide. He just didn't know that this is a topic that is permitted to talk about. So I learned, for one thing, of course, being in our community, we see how many people have this diagnosis. And as an admin, I see when people on entry they filling out these membership questions, and one of the question is, do you have anyone in your family diagnosed? Do you know anyone? Or maybe it's yourself. A lot of times I see people answering, on both sides of my family, it runs, I would like to learn more. My close friend got diagnosed and I would like to help them. My spouse got diagnosed and I don't know what to do. So many people around us carry this diagnosis, and if they don't speak with each other, they don't talk to each other, it's very lonely. It's becoming very lonely disease.
Yeah, I agree. It can be very lonely, especially if you feel like you can't even talk about it. You have all this shame around it and you keep it inside, even if you do know somebody else that has it and you still don't feel comfortable talking about it, you know? I really love that in our group there are people that are true allies coming in to support to learn more, to support their people that are diabetic. That's really beautiful. I didn't know that, and I really appreciate that. Um, I think that is a huge act of care, just to be a caregiver in any capacity, right? Even if it's not official, for somebody who's diabetic, educating yourself with the knowledge that we have right now is huge. It's a big, big, big act of care because that means you're going to be more equipped to handle stuff like if they go hypoglycemic, right? Blood sugar drops,
Yes,
or maybe you're researching like recipes, or you're learning to understand why, this person when they're hungry gets extra cranky, right? Like there's all kinds of different things that help us manage and like care for our people, whether it's like emotionally, physically, spiritually, just that act of care is huge.
absolutely. And you are working with people who are going through grief. And I hear it so many times, and I know my husband was going through that. They are grieving their life that they had. And would you do you have any suggestions what people can do to help themselves or to help their loved ones, how to ease this pain?
Yeah, as somebody who's gotten many, many, many diagnoses throughout my life that have been big, right? Like I went into a tailspin almost every time. One of the things that I've learned and that I practice now is having a conversation with my grief. And I know this can sound a little silly, maybe, but it's more like a visualization where if I start ruminating on like, oh, I hate that I have to be this way now, or what is this going to mean now that I have this diagnosis? What I'll do is I'll acknowledge, like, oh, my grief wants to come and hang out. And so I'll visualize walking in a park or somewhere peaceful, and I see my grief. Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's an animal, maybe a tree, um, and they'll come up and they'll be like, "Do you want to have a conversation?" And let's say I'm at work, I'm gonna be like, "No, I can't right now, right?" But if I can say yes, I do. And so maybe I'm visualizing sitting down right on a bench or sitting in the grass, or if I'm on the beach, I'm sitting in the sand and I'm just sitting next to my grief and we're talking about it. And it's more, I try to lead with curiosity. What does my grief have to say to me right now? And how is this going to help me later? And so it's developing that relationship with your grief instead of thinking of it as this big, bad, scary feeling. And I'm not going to say that grief isn't hard, it really is. And I'm not trying to minimize that, but developing the relationship with it can help you move with it in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is an interesting idea. I never, well, probably because I never had a conversation like we're having today. Um, Never heard about this, talking with your grief, but yes, when we kind of hearing our feelings in like third person is talking about it, it's easier to analyze and find some ideas that may help. It's just like listening to your friend uh, talking about the challenges that they have, and because it's your friend, you feel deeply for them. You start coming up with some ideas. Maybe you could do this, maybe you could go there, or maybe you need to make a phone call to such and such person. That's a great idea, and thank you for sharing that. I think some of our listeners can actually use it because we do see these posts pretty regularly when people feeling depressed, when people are expressing all the attributes that describe the grief. It just they don't connect sometimes the stress that they receive with the grief that they experience about the life that they had.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times like the wisdom we need we have inside ourselves.
Yes.
And so it's a really beautiful way to kind of tease out that wisdom so that we can see it and then integrate it.
Okay. Yes. Well, let's have one more topic because we are getting close to the end. What would be your suggestion to caregivers who are helping people with type 2 diabetes? How they can be the most supportive? What would be your tips for them?
First, I would say have your own support group outside of the diabetic person. And I think
Yes.
that's going to be important because allowing your person to make their own decisions around their health, even if it goes against something that could help them, is likely going to bring up some pretty strong feelings. And that's normal. That's understandable, right? But they still deserve to make their own decisions. And so if you want to fully support them, you need to have the support that you need too, so that you can go and express your frustrations or anger, disappointment, all of those heavy feelings that can come up in those kinds of situations, so that you can then come back and be like, okay, I see that you made this decision. If you want to name how you feel, great. And then ask how you can support them in making a different decision in the future if they want to.
This is nobody told that yet, and I appreciate you saying it. The Facebook group that we are in is called Diabetes 101 for Beginners. I actually have a Facebook group. It's called Diabetes 101 for Caregivers. But so much of my efforts and energy goes into this group that this other group, I just reserved the name. It's not active. and I am really just waiting for the right moment to start pouring more information into there so caregivers could actually have the support. Thank you. That's so important. And we've heard so many stories, not only about diabetes, but about anything. Parents with kids with challenges and kids with parents with already developed age-related challenges. Uh, Everyone needs support, and you you need to hear that there is somebody else who is going through that. There is somebody else who found some ideas, tricks that work for them, that so I could try it and maybe it will work for in our family as well or in our group as well. That's a
Absolutely.
excellent idea. Thank you, Jen. It's you really just gave me more enthusiasm to start working on this other group that I have. Well, I love our conversation today, and I really don't like the fact that we need to slow down here and start wrapping up. So let me ask you this. Do you, in your work, organize some events for people? Do you have something coming up? Can you please talk a little bit about it?
Yes. Around mid-October, I'm going to be hosting a virtual grief workshop, and it's called Understanding Grief, Navigating the Many Faces of Loss. And it's a workshop for people that understand that, grief can come from death, but there's also lots of other life transitions that can bring about grief. And so we explore some of the like more common ones, and it's an opportunity to be in community with other people who are grieving around life transitions. So
Yeah,
I will, yeah, I'll
perfect.
let you know in the group when that's open and available.
Excellent. Yes, please. In the comments under the post that we have, please put this information with the link if there is a registration page with the registration, or maybe just the link if it is available to public. I don't know how you organize it. I wanted just to say that grief may be not necessarily related to diagnosis. It may be because someone moved to different city and they lost their connections that they had, but the job requirements forced them to move, right? Or somebody had job loss, and that may be causing grief, and that may be followed with different health challenges as well. So unattended grief can cause the health issues. So we do need to be mindful about it as well, right?
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
beautiful. Thank you, Jen. And please, again, please go and post your information under the post so people may connect with you, may go attend your seminar, your event. It will be great.
I
Um,
definitely will.
Thank you. So before we wrap up, I wanted to remind everybody who is watching, those who are listening, they could just listen. But with the information that I always wrapping up our event is that we usually reminding people that uh, we have several events going on in our Facebook group, and one of the events is the Telenurse Tuesday. This is the opportunity for anyone under the post that we have announcing this event on Tuesdays. Post your questions. They may be related to your healthcare plan. They may be related to some uh, challenges that you're experiencing already. And our nurses go online at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and they go over the questions and they respond to it. So you will have a little bit time ahead of, not at 7 p.m., but maybe at 4 or 5 p.m. Once this post will be in featured posts, go ahead and post your questions. Then at 7 p.m., come back and watch the answer. On every other Wednesday, We have our support group meetings, posts about it again are happening. We are posting them in a featured post, and there are several announcements through the week, so nobody will be missed. Of course, on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we go live, and you have a chance to listen to our speakers, invited guests in our podcast, Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360. We also have it on YouTube, and I will keep in featured posts for a while. So if you missed it or you would like friend of yours to listen to it, bring them to our group and let them listen to it. Every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, our very own Trevor Brown goes with Fitness Fridays, where he is bringing some ideas, sharing ideas how you can uh, help your body to move more, to implement some activities in your daily routine so your body will be better prepared for challenges that life throws at us. And one last event that I wanted to remind you that on the last Saturday of October, October 26th, we will have our next Diabetic Healthcare Expo. We start at 10, we go for 6 hours till 4 p.m. We invite our healthcare experts to join us there, and they do. And we also have the chef cooking for us at in the middle. It's our lunch and learn, and you have a chance to learn a recipe or two, so you could use it in your daily activities or weekly activities in the kitchen. With that, I would like to thank you, Jen, one more time for joining me here today.
Thank you, Edina. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for your ideas, for sharing your knowledge, experience, information. I believe people will be um, very interested to learn more, but we will see how it goes. Everybody, follow us, follow Jen, share this information with your people, and we will talk to you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.